David Enders has recently returned from Iraq, where he has been on and off for the last 2 years. This time he comes back on behalf of the Pulitzer Center on Crisis Reporting. He joins us to share his observations. Where were you and how much time did you spend in Iraq on this trip?
I was in Iraq for about 6 weeks, mostly in Baghdad and then also in Basra, Najaf, embedded with the military in Taji, about 10 miles north of Baghdad, and then also in Kurdistan.
And a lot of these trips you were not embedded with the U.S. military?
No, but effectively we were embedded with different Iraqi parties, agreed to provide us security. At this point, working as a foreign journalist in Iraq, security is an absolute necessity. Some people are paying thousands of dollars a day for their own private security, and we, being freelancers, took the position that we were going to have to coordinate security with whatever group was in control of whatever area we wanted to visit.
So it's
anyway.
Sort of a local, it's a local militia.
Right.
Depending on where you're going,
you're embedded one way or the other. Iraq is, a lot of people described it as being very similar to working under Saddam, was that you had to be with someone from a party or you had to have someone's permission to be in the area that they controlled.
When you went around the country, this time, did it feel as though it was safer, violence was lower than it had been 6 months ago when you were there?
No. The last time I was there was actually last March, or last May rather, so it had been about a year. And it definitely was much more restricted. The previous year I had been working by myself. This time I worked with a cameraman. And I was able to stay in, not even in a fortified hotel complex. This time I stayed in the Hamra Hotel, which is outside the Green Zone, and there are a number of foreign press there, and NBC is the major outlet, and thereby there's a lot of private Iraqi security around the compound. The last time I actually stayed in an unsecured apartment, it was close to a political party office, which meant that the street was fairly well guarded, but otherwise I was totally in essentially a civilian apartment by myself. And
you were told this time that that would be too...
The landlord has left and wouldn't rent to a foreigner at this point anyway. He's no longer even renting the building. He's in London. He had relatives there and decided to leave. And that was still in Karada, which is directly across the river from the Green Zone and is considered, quote-unquote, relatively safe. And that was a year ago that was relatively safe. This time while I was there, there was obviously a campaign to hit the area with car bombs. There were large bombs going off frequently. There was an increased presence of the Jaish al-Mahdi, the militia that is relatively more or less loyal to Muqtada Sadr. And there's also a large presence of Iraqi military and police in the area because Skiri, the Supreme Council for the Islamic Revolution in Iraq, now the Supreme Iraqi Islamic Council, also has offices there.
Which is the other major Shiite political party with its own militia.
Exactly, the Badr Brigade, and it's the Shiite party that's most closely allied with the U.S. Also, Jalal Talabani, the Kurdish president of Iraq, has a house in the area as well. So between U.S. troops and Iraqi security, this neighborhood had kind of remained relatively safe, and now it's at a point where it's being increasingly encroached upon and is becoming increasingly dangerous. And
so what do you make of the reports that say violence is down, the surge is working, that in fact, you know, statistically the reports are that there are fewer and fewer incidents and fewer deaths?
Well, those have been disproven, I think, by other media outlets. McClatchy has done reporting that suggests, by their numbers, deaths have gone up, along with attacks, roughly 5% since 6 months ago when the surge began. So I think that when people say it's working, I think the areas where violence has gone down, it's very localized. I think also claiming that violence has gone down because certain groups that were maybe attacking the U.S. or attacking the Iraqi government are now working with the U.S. I think that's probably at best a short-term thing.
And in your just sense
anecdotally?
Anecdotally, your sense was it was not safe?
Not at all. Not remotely.